I'm sitting here with Mr. Kevin Larkai of Blackleaf Vodka. Thank you so much for joining me today to talk about Blackleaf Vodka for my Black Spirit Spotlight series, where I talk to Black spirit owners like yourself about their journey to success, how they got started, and everything in between. So thank you again for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Excited to share the story.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about yourself and tell me how Blackleaf got started.
Yeah, so I'm, named Kevin. I'm originally from West Africa, so I'm Ghanaian. I was born in Nigeria, grew up a little bit in Botswana, and then I came out to the U.S. When I was 16 for high school, and eventually ended up in the D.C. area. So I've been here now for about 15 years, and about a little under 10 years ago, ended up going with a friend of mine to Cognac, France. And while we were there, this was on a vacation, while we were there, we ended up meeting another Black guy, and not a lot of Black people in Cognac. So we automatically hit it off. It turns out he was a soccer player, and the whole town had basically been following his career. So he was like a local celebrity, knew a bunch of people. He introduced us to a ton of people, including Blackley, who's the owner of a distillery based in Cognac. So when we met, we basically hit it off, and sort of that's how Blackleaf came to be. So very much like a chance meeting. We didn't necessarily go out there looking to create a brand. It just so happened, and then it ended up working out, and we decided to create Blackleaf.
I read online that Blackleaf is the first French organic vodka. So what does organic mean in terms of vodka?
First and foremost, it's the ingredients. So the wheat that we use is, they don't use any pesticides with the farming of that. And then it's also the process. So for instance, when we have our mash, we use the mash as animal feed, so we're not wasting. So it's a sustainable process all the way through. And then we also add some additional eco-consciousness. So when you think about the bottle, we specifically go with less glass. That again has, better for the environment, and we have organic inks as well. So it's organic and eco-conscious product through and through.
Was that important to you when developing your brand?
It was. I think, when we decided to do premium plus organic, we wanted to be unapologetically and fully premium and unapologetically and fully organic. So every single aspect, we wanted to make sure that we considered that.
Wow. So why vodka, not cognac, if you're in Cognac, France?
So it's the vision is to eventually do a lot of different products. And we thought vodka would be the best one to start with, because it'd be a lot quicker, less expensive. We had a really good concept. So we decided to start with this. And then, in the future, it can always grow into cognac, you can grow into gin, you can grow into different products.
Oh, okay. How did you come up with the name?
So the theme of the product is premium plus organic. So a lot of times when you think organic, it looks a certain way, right? It doesn't have sort of like the sex appeal, if you will. So it's very important for us to marry the two, and the name speaks to the same thing. So if you think about Black, like Black excellence, Black sophistication, Black tie, so it speaks to the premium aspect of things, and then the leaf is the organic. So if you combine the two, you have Blackleaf, and it's, it rolls off the tongue pretty smooth as well. So ended up being a good name for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love your bottle. I love the marketing of it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we thought, if you're going to make good liquid, you might as well put it in something sexy as well, and just have people appreciate that aspect too.
Yeah, I actually tasted some at last year's Black-owned Wine and Spirits Festival in DC.
Yeah. I think that's the first time that we connected, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So how did you choose the flavor profile? Like, did you go through a certain amount of tests, or like was it immediate?
Yeah, definitely. So I will say a lot of it I credit to, the master distiller Bertrand Blackley. Back then, for me, it was about it being smooth. So that was like, my definition of good, right? It's like, make it smoother, make it smoother. So we ended up with something that was super smooth, but then also the way that it was done, we got more of an interesting flavor profile. So a lot of times with vodkas, they don't really have a lot of character, but with this one, you taste a little bit of sweetness. The mouthfeel is good. There's some fruit notes. So the process ended up, getting us something that was pretty good.
So it's produced in France. How does it get to the United States? And is it distributed in France as well?
No, it isn't. So right now we're in a couple of markets. We're in DC, and in a small way we're in Nashville as well. So it's made over there, and then we ship it to the Port of Baltimore. We have our warehouse out there, and then we distribute from there.
Okay, awesome. Switching gears a little bit, like you're a Black man in the spirits industry, which isn't a typical industry that people get into. What did your family and friends say when you told them you were going into the spirits industry, and how has the journey been so far?
Yeah, I mean, so far, people have been very supportive. Family, friends have been supportive. Obviously from a Christian household, the when you're getting into, wine and spirits, people are always doubtful about the lifestyle that comes along with it. But once they realize that, you're drinking responsibly, you're not doing anything that you shouldn't be doing, they've been very supportive. Friends have been, very encouraging, liking, purchasing. So it's been good. The journey so far has been a lot of ups and downs. There's been a lot of lessons learned. So initially when we started, there was literally no experience in the industry at all, right? So we had a sense of design. We knew what we wanted to create, but in terms of knowing the industry, there was none of that. So originally when we launched, we thought we would put the bottle on the shelf and it would sell itself. Obviously, that's not going to happen, right? So, but the good thing is the constant feedback we got was the liquid is really good. The liquid is really good. So a couple of years ago, I decided to relaunch. So that's when we rebranded, relaunched. And I was like, let's go about it the right way. Let's learn the business. Let's, go out there, have people try it, build those relationships one person at a time, and just see where it takes us. So fast forward, about a year and a half now, it's gone really well. Learned definitely how to sell, been more out there with the brand. And, we sort of actually recently been picked up by a distributor. So I'm no more self-distributing, which is what I was doing for the last year and a half, which is essentially selling it out of your trunk. So it's gone pretty well. We're excited about the future.
Well, congratulations for being picked up by a distributor.
Thank you. Excited for that. Obviously, it has its own set of challenges because you go in there now, you need to start from the ground up. But we're excited. It just shows that the brand is growing.
I actually have seen Blackley in other people's Instagrams in the DC area that I follow. So, I think you do a lot of things with Roy Boys in DC.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So Frank Mills, he's our brand ambassador. Great guy, super supportive. So yeah, we've been working with him, and we've been working with in a couple of establishments there, and we're continuing to grow and get the word out.
Do you have a marketing budget, or are you working with a marketing firm to get your product out there?
So there is everything is bootstrapped, right? So, but there is a budget. So essentially, I work to do this. So so I am working with some marketing folks, gradually trying to build out the team, because I think the product is one thing, but what really propels you to the next level is the team that you build and who you work with and how you guys go about things. So I think that's sort of thinking ahead to what takes us to the next level, trying to grow that out.
Have you chatted with any other Black spirit owners about Blackleaf and, do's and don'ts or tips and tricks, things like that?
Here and there, not as much as I think I should be doing. I really feel like we should have think tanks where we're exchanging ideas, helping each other out. But there are a couple of owners that I talk to from time to time, and we share ideas, but definitely not as much as we should be.
Yeah. I hope with my list that I came up with, the over 70 Black spirits.
Yes.
That just the word will get out about the available Black spirits on the market and sort of create a conversation.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of room for like collaboration as well, right? Even if it's people feel like they're competitive in, say, the vodka space. Like you can collaborate with a whiskey brand, you can collaborate with a beer product, a wine. So I do think I need to comb through that list and get some contacts.
Yeah, it's definitely some great brands out there.
For sure. And hey, thank you for putting us on there as well. Definitely appreciate the highlight.
I remembered you guys from last year because I remember thinking, like, I love the taste of your vodka. It's very smooth, as you said before.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So you mentioned you lessons learned.
Yes.
Is there anything that you would have done differently on your journey so far?
That's a tough one, right? Because I'm like an eternal optimist, and I'm always forward looking. So it's hard for me to even like look back, right? Certainly, if I knew what I know now back then, that would have made the journey a lot smoother. It wouldn't have taken as long. But also, there's a level of like being naivety that's required in the beginning, right? Because if you know all the obstacles, you may end up discouraging yourself. So sometimes like you got to go in there just fully optimistic and kind of like get the bruises. So a ton of lessons learned. I don't necessarily know that I would do anything differently because the lessons, and that's what's led us to where we are right now. Yep.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I feel like there's something to be said for the journey and all the
exactly
bumps and bruises along the way.
Exactly. You got to love the process. It's like, it's not, Rome wasn't built overnight. Like it takes time. You just got to keep getting better every day and see where it takes you.
So what advice would you give someone who wants to start their own spirits brand?
I would definitely say, have your idea down pat. Like, know what sets you apart from other brands. Because ultimately you have to stand behind your brand, right? So you got to make sure that you believe in it, because for the first possibly several years, it's you just like singing the same song, right? So if you don't have that true conviction and that belief, you won't have the longevity. Like you won't have that momentum and the inspiration to keep you going. So I'll definitely say, first thing, just make sure you're solid on what you're introducing to the market. And then I would say, definitely get some advice. People that have done it before. Like, it's easy to think, you'll figure it out, but it always helps, partnering or getting some tips from someone who's already gone through that journey. So reach out to as many people as you can. People are very willing to offer advice. I would say those two things are key. Yeah.
Awesome. So what's next for Blackley?
Yeah, so we are launching with the distributor in a couple of weeks. We're also getting the ability to have online sales as well. So just getting ready for both of those things. With online sales, we get to sell to nationwide. So we're excited about that. And then, obviously with the distributor, becoming available in more places in the area.
Awesome. What's your favorite cocktail to make with Blackley?
So one that's great for the summer, and I actually should have prepped to do it today. It's called a French 1889. So it's a play on. Are you familiar with a French 75?
Yes, I love French
Yeah,
75.
yeah. So it's a play on a French 75. We call it French 1889 as a nod to when the distillery was founded. So it's essentially the same thing, only that it has vodka instead of gin. So it's the vodka is Saint Germain and lemon juice, and then you top it off with either champagne or prosecco. So it's a great cocktail for the summer. Very simple to make, super refreshing. So
That
that
sounds
that
really
is
refreshing, and I love Saint Germain. I could drink that every day.
yeah,
So,
exactly. That's the secret weapon right there with the cinnamon.
what do we do to tell people to get your products on the shelves nationwide?
Yeah, I mean, I think just having people just spread the word. If it's your local liquor store, telling them about us. If it's bar, your favorite bar, restaurant, telling them about us. I think that'll be very helpful. If there's a link, someone wants to send me a DM on Instagram, a lead that I can follow up on, I'm certainly open to that as well. So yeah, any support we can get, we appreciate.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I wish you all the best of luck getting Blackleaf's name out there. You
Thank
sound like
you.
you have a plan, so I'm excited to see where you go.
Thank you, and definitely thank you for having me. Thank you for adding us to the list. Thanks again for that.
Where can people find you online?
So Instagram, Blackleaf Vodka. The website is blackleafvodka.com. We also have Twitter, Facebook. It's all Blackleaf Vodka. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, go follow them and go buy some Blackleaf Vodka today.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
No problem.